Hey Harold. So I've got the YouTube recording going now. So you're on recording. You've told me that your computer is currently locked up, and from my side, it shows as offline. So that answers that question because I was suspecting that it might actually be online. Um, So I want to have you watch certain indicators as you restart it. Now, right now, as you look at the screen, is there any kind of a powered black image on the screen? I don't know if that's going to
No,
make any
it's
sense.
totally blank.
Okay, so what I've seen oftentimes when you and don't do it yet when you hold down the power button, I typically say for the count of 10 seconds, some point during that 10 seconds, maybe around 7 or 8, you can hear it and sense the computer actually go off. Has that been your experience?
Yes.
Okay. So when that happens, you might see a little bit of a change on that black monitor screen. Now that isn't really going to be an indicator one way or another for us for the actions to take on your computer, but I kind of would like to confirm that. And also, you might have to have your ear like close to the keyboard to hear the computer turn off. You might even hear a little bit of a click. Does that sound familiar at all?
Um, no, I don't recall hearing any kind of clicks or anything.
Okay. Then another item is
In fact,
the
I'm in a room where my wife is, and she's got the TV turned up really loud.
oh,
So
it's
could I
not going to work.
unplug it and go into a different room? Would that be a problem?
No, that'd be fine.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to do
Okay. All right.
before we go any further. I'll go ahead and unplug it and take it into another room where I can close the door.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, it's unplugged from power right now.
Are you taking the power adapter with you?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's
I'll plug it in the other room.
prefer to do that rather than battery power.
Okay, it's back on power.
Okay, so when you the sequence I'd like you to try is position it so that you can see that hard drive light and the screen at the same time. And let's just start with a press and release of the power button and verify that that hard drive light does not show any flicker at all.
Short press and release.
Yeah, just a short press and release of the power button. Verify that the hard drive light does not flicker at all.
It does not.
Okay. Then the next thing is with still being able to see the hard drive light and the screen, and trying to have your ear close enough, hold down the power button until it goes off and see if you observe any change of the screen image or the hard drive light, and pay attention to sound.
Okay, right now I can hear a sound like a fan.
Okay.
That's before I've touched anything.
Okay.
It might be the hard drive, but the light on the hard drive is not doing anything.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and press the power button until the light goes off.
Okay.
Okay, I got a slight little beep. Nothing on the screen, and the fan noise or whatever it was went away.
Okay. I suspect it probably was a cooling fan.
Yeah, it's completely off now.
Okay. And so you did not see any change of the screen?
No, I did not.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and turn it back on, and as it's starting up, I'll describe to you what I have in mind. And let's time how long it takes to get on. Have you pressed the power button yet?
Yeah, there's the HP screen.
Okay.
And the dots that are going around in a circle.
Okay. So I'm going to say it was 05, about 58 seconds. And let's see, you actually type in a PIN code when it gets to that point. So let me know when it gets to the screen where it's asking for a PIN code.
Well, I have to push the escape button to get to that screen.
Okay. So you probably see a wallpaper that clues you into knowing that it's ready for the escape key.
Right, and then there's the time on the bottom left.
Okay. Has it got to that yet?
Not yet.
All right. So since it did not experience a normal shutdown, this startup is expected to take longer than a clean startup.
Okay, I've got the time on the bottom left and the splash screen.
Okay. So you think it's ready for your escape key?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, I pushed the escape key, the time went away, and it's asking for my PIN.
Okay, go ahead and put that in. And then tell me when you get to your desktop.
I've got a welcome sign with the spinning dots.
Okay.
It definitely takes considerably longer when it has to cold boot like this.
Yeah. And it's entirely possible the time between your PIN code and the desktop could be shorter if you wait longer before putting the PIN code in, because while it's waiting for your PIN code, it can be doing some repair things in the background.
That's true, yeah.
In fact,
right, it's ready now.
Okay. So I'm going to say 43 seconds. So 07. So our entire time is about almost 2 minutes. Really not bad under the circumstances at all. Okay, and I see that you're online and available for me to connect to. So I'm going to go ahead and connect. Perhaps because of the repair type startup, it's taking longer to for me to connect.
And that's usually the case when if I go into an email,
Yeah.
it seems like it takes a long time to bring up the email.
Okay.
Or
Now,
Windows.
one thing that's worth mentioning, when a computer goes through a repair startup, it really shouldn't be judged. Its performance shouldn't be judged until you restart again, because that subsequent restart is a normal restart. At this point right now, it has not experienced a normal restart most recently. But we're not going to do that yet. I've got a couple specific things in mind for us to look at and consider, and we won't do the Zoom session at this point. So we'll just stay on the phone call. So I have your screen up on video now. So there's two things that I'm particularly interested in. And one of them I already talked with you a little bit about. So I'm going to go straight to the one that we have not discussed yet. Now, yesterday you had, we were intending to do another session yesterday afternoon, but you reported that it had not locked up. It had not, you were able to recover it. Or actually, the screen did not go dark. Is that what it was? It didn't go into standby mode?
No, it did, but it came right back out because I had a program running in the background, I guess, because when the screen blanked out, there was a program, I'm not sure if it was Internet Explorer or my mail program or something, but I had something running, and
okay, that might have.
It woke back up from that.
Okay.
The screen came back on when I moved the mouse.
Okay, so we had the computer configured for the screen to go off after 10 minutes and standby mode after 20 minutes. So perhaps what happened is it only got to the point of the screen turning off, and it never did.
I had waited way longer than 20 minutes. It was like hours.
Yeah, but that 20 minutes is after 20 minutes of what Windows considers to be inactivity. There are things that can be happening in the background, particularly with the web browser open, that Windows possibly did not judge that the computer was actually idle.
Okay.
That's a theory.
That makes sense.
Okay. And when you probably were able to wake it up just with a mouse movement or a keyboard touch? What is your?
I think it was just a mouse,
Okay.
Going across the mouse pad.
Uh-huh. And when you wake up the computer from a screen that has turned off, that should wake up a little bit faster than waking up from standby mode. So I would think that waking up from the screen being turned off would be a few milliseconds. Waking up from a standby mode might be half a second to a second. Does that sound familiar at all?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, let's go look at the things that that I have not discussed with you yet. This occurred to me after our last session that we should take a look at this. And this is in Device Manager, and the computer feels like it's responding slowly to me. And we're going to go look at the display driver properties. Well, here it's not even showing me the proper tabs yet. I think that's because the computer's still not quite ready. Let's see, if I move the mouse across the taskbar, do I get any spinning circle? No. I'm going to expand this and right click on until there. That's a proper menu. You know what? Maybe did I just do right click on the, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I don't think I expanded it to here. That was my mistake. So go to properties here and see. Yeah, this, I wanted to see if there was a power tab. I'm going to click through these and see if there's anything about power, but I don't think so. Very commonly, we'll change the power settings on a network adapter. Here's your wireless network adapter. Let's see if that has a power tab. Yeah, they're a power management. And when we're having problems with network adapters, we'll remove this check mark so that we're not allowing the computer to turn off the network adapter. So I was speculating in my mind whether there might be a similar setting for the display adapter. Now, you're not specifically having a problem with the network adapter, but any odd situation happening on a computer, sometimes the fix can be seemingly unrelated. And I don't see any reason for us to be allowing it to turn off the power to the network adapter anyway. So we'll take that off. Similarly, look at this one. There's a power management. I'm inclined to just take off all of these power management items. To try to speculate on why that might make sense would be that when you try to wake up the computer from sleep mode, it needs to wake up all the devices that have been powered down. And if it's having trouble with one of those, that could be preventing the wake up. There's no power tab for this. And certainly if the keyboard or mouse power is turned off, that would prevent you from being able to wake up. Okay, allow this device to wake the computer. Well, we certainly want that. The keyboard, similarly, allow keyboard to wake up the device. Okay, so none of those that we changed seem directly related. You don't have a printer connected during these instances where you can't wake it up. Is that true?
It's wireless.
Wireless printing? Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have anything plugged into a USB port?
Not unless I'm backing something up.
Okay.
Or uploading a driver, the updates to my laptop or to my Garmin.
Okay. I'm guessing maybe you've had this standby mode difficulty with or without a drive connected to USB, or maybe you're not sure.
Probably never leave it connected.
Okay. Well, now here's a USB input device allowing the computer to turn off the device to save power. You're typically running the computer connected to AC power anyway, and so again, I don't see any need to be having these power management things active. And there's a whole lot of different device drivers that be really time consuming to look through all of them. Now this is interesting. So this one with wireless radio controls does not have power management. This one with vendor defined device does have a power management. And we don't know for sure which one this is, but it says on USB input device, but you don't have anything connected to USB right now, and I would wonder if it has something to do with the touchpad mouse that you have. But none of that is set to turn off. That option isn't even selectable. It's grayed out. Does your laptop have a touch screen?
Yes.
Okay, so you can touch the screen and get response. Does it have a CD drive, it looks like?
Yes.
Okay. No power setting for that. And we already looked at this one. No power setting. And there was the setting for turning the power off on the hard drive, that was set for 3 minutes, I believe. And we left that as it was. We did not change that. So when you and I got in contact this evening, you said that it was locked up at the time. How long had it been locked up? When were you last using it today?
Probably 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Because I was waiting for you to be able to see that it was locked up.
Right.
And then I fell asleep. I'm sorry about that.
Hey, that's a worthy activity on a weekend. Although I suppose some people who are retired can do that any day of the week, huh?
Well, yeah. I was supposed to fly to Half Moon Bay today, but got canceled because of the weather. So we're going to try tomorrow in the 340.
All right, so here's another one. So we had previously talked about not making a bunch of changes at once so that we could have an idea what impact we had, but there are at this point so many remote things that we're looking at now that just becomes impracticable. Some word like that.
Yeah.
All right. So that was.
Did you look at the monitor?
Yeah. I'll just go back and refresh memory on that, but I'm sure that I did. Yeah, there's no power setting there. So, but then there are some up here that I did not expand, and I have had many instances where the solution to a particular symptom is just real head scratcher. You think about how could that change impact that symptom, and typically the way I find that is with a Google search. Now that's another thing is at some point along our conversations, I think I had suggested a Google search and you had done that on your own, and you had told me that you did find some things, and one particular thing that you tried. Were there other things that we haven't looked at that you noticed through that Google search?
Well, the only thing that it said was that this is a common problem, or it's a known problem, I think it said, and that just to use the hibernation mode.
Oh, yeah. So basically they were just giving a workaround that is not a very pleasant workaround, because
and then
Right. Right.
A lot slower doing that.
Yeah.
Although I'm not adverse to doing that to keep it from locking up.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to go back into Event Viewer. It's one of the first things that I went into looking at things, and mainly the reason why I'm going there now is to point out how much stuff is going on in the background um, that the computer is doing. And here I'm just going into the system log, which is really the most active, and it's not unusual for this to take a while to populate the screen. And then these events typically will be in descending date order, but sometimes it's not a perfect order. So to ensure that we're accurately seeing everything, I just clicked on that column heading for date and time, and it quickly did a sorting. So now we're more confident that we have an accurate sorting. So if we oh, and this is down at the bottom. So this arrow right here pointed up with the wide part of that arrow at the bottom, that's indicating the most recent is at the bottom. I'm kind of just in the habit of having the most recent at the top. So I just clicked on that column heading again to change the sort order. We have the scroll box at the top now. So I'm just arrowing down, and we should get to a point where we see a big time gap that would represent when you first attempted to restart the computer during this phone call. And there are some errors that'll happen in these logs even when the computer is working fine, because Windows tries to do things that are not valid under the current setup and may not be commonly or not very informative. So here's the time gap. Mainly what I was looking for is when was the most recent thing that happened. Now this is kind of interesting because 5:27 p.m. we have a message that says the system has returned from a low power state. We'd expect to see that when you wake it up from standby mode. And I'm wondering if that occurred when you actually attempted to wake it up around that time. Is that believable that you tried to wake it up around then?
I think so.
Okay.
Probably.
Now here, this is interesting, from 5:14 to 5:27. 5:14, we have the system has resumed from sleep. And then 5:27, system time has changed. Firmware reported boot metrics, boot options. Windows saying something about Bluetooth.
Like I said earlier, when I woke up because I had a program running in the background. But
yeah.
When I closed everything out and then let it set idle, that's when it did not wake up.
Okay. So after closing that browser and then letting it sit, do you have a notion of what time that was?
Well, I should have wrote it down. I don't.
Yeah. So here's a big gap from 2:14 to 5:14. Now 2:14 is actually resumed from sleep. And there's system is entering sleep, and 1 second later resumed from sleep. A service was installed in the system. There's a gap in time there also. 11:32, 10:06. So you have several entries, maybe a dozen or approaching 20, or even less than a dozen during some of these time sequences. And then there's a gap and then another spurt of stuff. And those are actually fairly small number. I'm guessing that during those sessions you weren't doing a lot with the computer, maybe?
No, I wasn't. I just
Okay.
did enough to,
All right. So now here I've gone to the application log. I haven't spent a whole lot of time in the application log, but I'm wondering if it might tell us when you close that browser. I'm just not certain about how much it'll tell us. So there's that 214. Let's see, this source area, HP support solutions. That's where I'd be expecting to see something that might really give us a clue what you did then, but no, that's not really telling us much. No, we're not a whole lot in there. HP COM recovery. If we wind up digging further and further into this and not finding a solution soon, it could be really useful to have specific times, if you can write them down. And you might want to take a note right now whether the precise time on your computer matches if you have a watch or time on your phone. How well synchronized are they?
It's right on.
Yeah, not surprising because they both
With my
use
Apple Watch.
Yeah, they both use time servers, so that's good. So making note of things you try to do, like you could wait till this is approaching 8:32, so you could be waiting to 8:32 precisely, and then touch a key on the keyboard or the mouse, trying to wake the computer up. And if it fails to wake up, we're going to be interested to see, did that record anything in the log? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I should have been doing that.
Well, we didn't know how deep we were going to get, and still, there's a possibility that the things we're doing now, we might have fixed it. But there's another piece here that I'm proposing that we do now, that I have proposed earlier, and that is that I'm suspecting that the problem might only occur when we have both of these settings active. And if we switch to only do one of them, we might find that it works fine, or it might just be this setting that is the source of trouble. So for instance, if we start with turning this one off by selecting never, well, that means theoretically after 5 minutes, the screen should go blank. And then sometime after that, it could be 2 minutes, could be 15 minutes, could be an hour, you might find that it easily always wakes up. And if that's the case, then we come back and we switch this one to never and put this
I know if I'm on battery power, I don't leave it on. I'll turn it off when I'm done using it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention to which options I'm looking at. That's not what I meant to do at all. That is battery. What I was meaning to do is the screen when plugged in and sleep when plugged in. Those are the options I was intending to be playing with. Glad you said that, because I was going down the wrong path there. So because this setting is just going to be turning the screen off, and we could make that a short time so that you can get a testing, with without having to wait so long between each operation. So for instance, you could have this setting, and you could make a note of the time on your watch when you stop interacting with the computer. And then 3 minutes later, watch the computer and see if the screen goes off precisely at 3 minutes, or maybe it doesn't happen until 10 minutes, because we don't know for sure when the computer concludes that activity has stopped. Follow? Yeah. Okay. But really, the thing that might be the acceptable solution is if we find that I'm suspecting that you probably prefer the sleep to occur. If you like, go to 3 minutes for sleep and never for screen turning off. If you find you can consistently wake it up that way, then that's probably a long-term acceptable solution, except you don't want to leave it on 3 minutes. You'd change it to a longer time probably.
Because when it does go to sleep, the screen will turn off, right?
Yes. When it goes to sleep, the screen will turn off, even if this one is set to never. Yeah. And so that's fine. Why would we care if the screen doesn't turn off first? Right. That'd be fine. So if we were to go with these settings right now, my suggestion would be make a note of the time when you stop interacting with the computer, and then specifically watch it 3 minutes later and see if you can observe and make a note of when it goes to sleep. Then I would suggest waiting another, 20, 30 minutes or so before you try waking it up. Or you could try waking it up immediately, and then next time let it go longer. You may find that after if you try to wake it up soon after it goes to sleep, that you're able to, but if you wait longer, it might not wake up. So there's still quite a variety of situations that could occur. And I would leave
them in these settings for right now.
Yeah, I think leave this settings right now is a good thing to start with. And I'm actually going to make a note on my log sheet here of what we're doing. So January 16, 2021, 8:37 p.m. Let's see, screen off never, and sleep 3 minutes. And I would suggest you go ahead and make variations and try different things yourself based upon what kind of results you get. And then we'll get back in touch tomorrow or whenever we next choose to and find out what you find.
Okay.
Sound good?
Well, I'll definitely find something out here in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah. I don't have a need for you to report to me right away what you find tonight. Just go ahead and continue doing experiments and jot down some notes so that you can, report the results next time we talk. Okay?
All right, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Talk to you later. All right. Bye. All right, so that's the next phase in our adventure with Harold. And let's see, this is, I think, the third or fourth video in our attempts to solve the problem that's happening on his computer, where his computer goes to sleep and then he can't wake it up. And the only thing he can do is hold down the power button to force it off and then restart again. It takes a long time to restart, and it's a real nuisance. So, and as you heard in this video, a YouTube Google search that he did reveals that a lot of people are having this problem with this model computer. So if you would like to request a session with me, I provide free computer support through these YouTube videos. And you can send an email to the address that's on your screen right now, DougBetts@LiveWindowsTraining.com. Give me a little bit of idea of what you'd like to have help with or work on, and we'll put it together. All right. Thanks for watching. Hope that was useful to you. Have a great day. Goodbye.